Hello, everybody. I suppose that everybody can hear me well. If you don't, let me know in the chat. But we can start. It's again time for a new motivation and inspiration live club number 23 already. I wasn't really counting. I need to check the all the slide decks and which was the last number I came across. I see that people are already checking in from everywhere in the world, which always warms my heart. And even on a hot day for us in Belgium today, I read that, for example, Mandy, who lives on the opposite side of the globe from me, has a chilly winter morning, she says. Hope I can warm that chilly winter morning a bit. It's kind of sweaty weather right here in Belgium right now. Also, cheers from Las Vegas, Nevada. I guess it's pretty warm there as well. Greetings also from New Zealand, Germany, Cornwall, England, Milwaukee. Yes, welcome everybody. 109 here in Arizona. I have no idea what that means in Celsius. Belgium, remember. Okay, let's kick off. Today, I will be reprising a topic I did way back when I was beginning with these live clubs, which is about making songs your own, about taking control, setting them to your hand, and putting your style, your own piece of artistry into a song. So, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, we have three big chunks on the menu today. First of all, if you want to make songs your own, the first step is understanding the song. How is it structured? Are there certain patterns I can recognize? Do I feel the song? Do I know what it is about? What story is about? Then there's a mechanical part to the song. Time signature, tempo, the amount of chord changes, certain strummings, which elements makes the song typical, which don't. And on top of that, there's a third chunk, and that is your own style. What can I put in this song of myself, and how do I do it? Where is there room to do this? I think that's crucial as well. The two biggest phases that you'll go through when setting a song to your hand is one, you deconstruct it to its core elements, and then you go building it again. This is the best way to know how the song really is built. How does it work? But two, it gives you the best view, the best idea to check where can I apply changes, where can I make something simpler, where can I make something more complex. You do that by deconstructing the whole thing. Then later on, the reconstruct is putting it back together, but in your own style. So as I said on the menu, first step is how do we check the structure? And I guess I'm missing a slide here. I didn't update to the last version. But step 0 is, of course, you need to know the song, not completely by heart, but you need to know what it is about. How, if you would listen to it, can you sing along? Do you feel where the emphasis in the beats are? And can you derive whether these emphasis, are they crucial to the song or not? And could you tap along with something? Could you clap along with the song? Can you nod along on the beat when you sing it? Do you know where to space the lyrics when it's sung? Relevant, of course, for people who want to sing it. But also, could you mimic how the strumming is going? And don't worry if you're not sure if that is correct or not. Imagine yourself playing that, and do you feel like you're really playing along? That is really the first step. And also, if you want to be really authentic when you bring this song, you should know what it is about. Um, I always check out the lyrics and I try to understand what they mean. Um, I I give them my own meaning, my own interpretation, and what I make of it. Sometimes I go check online and see what other people think that the song means, and does that enrich my own view? The best songs have multiple meanings to it, or at least you could think so. Classic case is Hotel California, where um, is it about drugs? Is it about really someplace in the desert? What is it all about? Or Space Oddity by Dave Bowie. Is it about depression? Is it about an overdose? What is it about? It's all up to you, but choose that interpretation. And if you bring the song, radiate it back to the audience, bring that story. A song is really a story. It has a beginning, it has an end, it has a middle, it has it has a setting, it has a twist, it has a crisis, it has a resolve. Most of them do. So try to tell that story as well. The song, of course, also comes in certain layers. And in my first sessions, I talk about it, and this is really about what this deconstructing of a song is about. You can go approach a song and try to play it note for note from the beginning till the end, and that won't really work for you because you'll get stranded somewhere in somewhere halfway the song, because some parts are just too hard and you don't know how to continue, um, or you're not sure how to approach that solo, or you've been practicing a certain bit for weeks, you got tired of it and you tried a new song, and after a while you'll have about 10 songs in your repertoire and none of them is finished, and you're not even able to play a complete song. This approach should get you to the stage or just at home as soon as possible with what is the minimum thing that a song is, and then you go building upon that. Then you know this is the structure of the song, and you can also decide which parts I can leave out, which I can play, and can I reconstruct the song in a way that I can play it. Take the original song, deconstruct its components, go to its basics, and then with all those building blocks, you build the song again, but in a version that you know. Does it still work like a real song? You could have a song with a lot of verses, a lot of choruses, a lot of bits and pieces. If you take some of them, does it still work as a song? Does it have a beginning? Does it have a middle? Does it have an ending? Then it is a story, per se. You can do that with songs as well, but then you need to go to the basics first. And seeing the structure, of course, helps. And there's some tricks you can use to help you with that. And I've prepared an example about Let It Be. Let It Be, of course, the very popular Beatles song. And just give me a minute there while I launch my Supernote here at the stage. All right. You should be seeing this. So if you go check out Let It Be, for example, or any other song, first decide first make out the different blocks of this song. Does it have an intro? Does it have an intro? Yes, it has an intro. Let's put that intro first. Oh. So it has an intro. Okay. Then it probably has a verse. And it probably has a chorus. Is it followed by a verse again? Yes, perhaps it has been written that way. Then another chorus, for example. This could be any song, many songs, and many blocks to come after that. But what do you notice? That I already made some blocks here which are the same length, try to figure out if there is a repeating pattern in this song. Um, you might notice that the intro is actually kind of like the verse, and the verse is the same length, and the chorus is the same length. And that means that you can see a pattern here. This block here, chorus and verse, it repeats here as well. It's still just chorus and verse. And going deeper, you might notice that the verse consists of 4 lines. So I could divide a verse into 4 bits. And you might notice that the chorus is actually just as long. So that would mean I could divide this chorus in 4 pieces as well. And then the box that came after it is just a repetition of the one that came after, that came before it. And this is the first step in recognizing structures in a song. This intro, it might have the same chords as the verse. It happens a lot. An intro and verse have the same chords, and in most cases it's just as long. Or in some songs they take only the first 2 lines of a verse and use it as an intro. So in that case, we delete this and we replace this, and we make them 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 begins again. You see, there's a structure emerging here. This is important. Why? When you're going to bring a song that has a lot of verses, a lot of choruses, and you're on stage, you might have limited stage time, and you might need to cut a song short, or you think it's a great song but it's a bit long, or you have issues with remembering what certain verses are. I have some songs that I drop a verse and a chorus here and there, just to if I'm not really sure and the song was long enough. I think, yeah, people know the message by now. The story isn't heard, and I know what the ending is, and the ending was probably something like a verse as well. So it could have been very similar to the intro, and that's a common trick, using the intro as an outro. So it could be something similar. So it could be the ending, but it's somewhere in the end of the track. Try to figure out which of these structures you can see. This is something else as learning a song, starting from the top of the page, seeing a blurt of text with all the chords on it on a chord sheet. If you're smooth enough, you can follow this along. But if you start to decompose it in blocks, you will start to see the song in a different way. Because as soon as you start to go digging deeper, remember on the previous page here, I said, oh, this verse, it had 4 lines, and this chorus had also 4 lines. If you dig little bit deeper, and let's say in this case the verse, you could make a little grid like this. And this is really how I see songs in my head, and also how I memorize them, because structuring and creating your own visual cues can help you in structuring and memorizing a song. In this case, I was talking about Let It Be. Let It Be is when I find my coat in tons of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. There will be an answer, let it be. I'm not really sure about the lyrics and how it goes, but I know that these are the chords. And what do you see? There's a pattern already here. This is not something you can clearly see on a chord sheet with the lyrics and all the chords on different spots. But if you put it in a grid like this, you see this immediately. This first block here gets a repeat here. And that's actually the main theme, the core of this song. Because what happens is, and if you listen to the song, you know that the verse is actually also a pattern in 2 parts, because the second line is the same. And then she's standing right in front of me. There will be an answer. Let it be. Same chords. So Yet again, another pattern. The CG keeps coming back. You see that here. It keeps coming back. But there's also a big repeat of these two. So now you start to see, oh, the things that I need to remember are getting less and less, and I'm doing repeats of those. And you need to see to start these patterns. Usually, I use a line as a as a unit to remember something, because what you'll often see is this structure where lines like this are repeated, but sometimes the end, the last chord or the last two, they get changed along. Let's say if they repeat this 3 times or 4 times, then they tend to change these last bits to have a bit of variation. Same pattern, but one goes up and then the next time it goes down, for example. Very common trick. For the chorus, same thing. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. I did that lyric before, and once again, yes, the CG is there again. And then he does it again. Let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. So, same trick here. Now you see that the amount of things that you need to remember is one in a kind of a rigid structure, and the amount of stuff that you need to remember can be brought on to certain logical units. Now you start to understand the song, and a cheat like this is very valuable to put in front of you because it's a good visual cue. If you're still in the stage of learning the song without lyrics, without singing, this can help you very much. And also, it helps you visualize to go even a step deeper. What do you mean a step deeper? Well, let's say the first line of which one did I take here? The chorus, A minor, G, F, C. I put these dashes here. These dashes, yes. These could be strums. 4 strums for A minor. 1, 2, 3. It's a fictive example, but let's say that this song, it wasn't Let It Be, but I want to experiment with that. This is the main structure of a song, but this is as soon as you get to this level, you can start to decide how I'm going to play these. Will I play these A minors as A minors? Will I play these G's as regular G's, F as F, C as C? Because you could decide that, for example, the last bit, you play like a C, 2 strokes, and then C add 9, for example. As I did in the previous session about decorating your C, A minor chord and stuff like that, I told you about think that you are in C, that you're still playing C chords, but just different flavors. It's the same thing. We're still working on that C block, but here we play 2 strokes regular C and 2 strokes C at 9. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 regular boring C major chords, you could C, and then decorate that. And you could even do that. You can even go further. You could change chord every stroke, or you can divide a stroke in 2 again and double the strumming for the whole thing, of course. That's all up to you. That's all it's all decided by the layers, how deep you're going already. But when you see a song like this in your head and you are playing it live, you will also it will be easier to decide. Now I need to I need to cut this song short. um I noticed that I'm having issues with this song. uh i'm I'm unsure about the next verse that's coming, about its lyrics. Then you need to know, oh, okay, I need to jump to these or these steps. All right, next up. So we did our example of Let It Be, and I talked about these building blocks: intro, outro, bridge, and see that as a story. A bridge you use as to spice something up, and you need to know if there is you can identify a bridge in your song. Check out whether it is, how is it used. Is there a pattern there? Is it used in front of a chorus? Is it used in front of a verse or something? Is it used to bridge two choruses? That happens as well. Um, you have to find this DNA, because you it's best to respect how that work, to respect that mechanic. There could be a rule, like if you identify a bridge and you see that it precedes a chorus, then try to respect that rule, that if I use the bridge, use it before a chorus in this song. Because playing a bridge and people know the song, they will expect a chorus to follow it. This is a crucial story element of the song. This is a story rule. And in most cases, you will need to respect that rule in order to respect the song, to still make it recognizable, or um, to keep people following, to not confuse them. So figure out what the story rules for your song are. That's a song structure. You also have song mechanics. Song mechanics is which is a key of the song, which is the tempo, which is a time signature. And the key of a song is, as a guitarist, and especially if you also sing, is a crucial one, because um, it will it will decide which chords you need to play. And if you're a beginner, that matters a lot, because you probably don't know how to play a C sharp minor, for example, because you haven't mastered those bar chords yet. But it also matters to more experienced players, because each chord has its own voicings, and some chords use more use higher notes on the high strings, or lower, or use more strings along the board. And sometimes it's just down to taste. It's just down to choosing a certain chord grip and its voicings, and you think this is how it works best. This effect only becomes larger when you finger pick, because then each string is picked, and under each string, each fret is a certain note, and this voicing, the melodies that come from it, are closely tied to which is the voicing of the chord that you're using right now. So what's really important as a singer is, what is what is the key that you're singing in. And first thing you need to figure out is, if I would sing the song, are there any low notes that give me issues? Are there any high notes that give me issues? You could try to force yourself in playing the song like the original, but if you plan to sing with it, my I really recommend, it's a strong recommend, is to try to figure out your ideal range for this song as soon as possible. And that's why transposing is a really useful skill. You can transpose, which means changing the key of a song, with a capo or without. I dedicated a live club about this earlier. if this interests you, check it out. There's an archive page for all the live clubs where you can consult these. And of course, there I will explain how transposing with a capo has its pros and its cons. Pros are it's easy to change a key, just slide up the capo. But it gets harder as soon as you want to go lower, and your capo can go on negative frets, of course. So what do you do then? Then you need to transpose the song. And then you can even combine transposing down but putting a capo on it again to finding your ideal range. Because at a certain point you might find that your song, this axis here is it goes from left low notes to right high notes, from low to high. And there you see that you have a C note over here, then 12 notes to follow, and you end up on a C again, but an octave higher. 12 notes up, end up on a C octave higher. So these regions here are all octaves from left low to high on the right. And your song is somewhere sitting right here. That's the original key of the song. And with this bar, I mean, this is the lowest note. This is the low one. This is the high one. And you might notice that, well, the low notes, I have this under control. But the higher notes, this is where your issues are in this zone. Which would mean that you need to shift your song a bit down. You need to transpose. Not a complete octave, but just a few steps. You can't do that with a capo. You can only do that by really knowing how to do that, by transposing. And it isn't that hard. You don't need to know a lot of song theory, music theory to do that. So it's an essential skill if you want to go perform, especially singing, is how to transpose, because it isn't that hard. You just take all the letters and you shift them down or up, and then you add the major and minor again. I'm not going to explain everything there. It's in the live club where I explain all the methods there and the tools that you can use. But sometimes you might even shift it down or up a whole octave. So if this one was over here, that would mean the other one. I'm gonna erase some stuff here. That would mean that the other one would be around here. So remember, left is the lowest note of the song, right is the highest note. And you can easily check that by singing along some of the lowest notes of a song, singing along some of the highest, and you'll quickly notice that this song is too high for me, this song is too low. You sometimes have songs that have a really wide range where you notice, even when transposing, oh, the low notes are an issue, but when I transpose it up, the high notes become an issue. Then you need to find other ways to cheat. So you might even shift it down a whole octave like that one. And in that case, the low notes might become an issue. Low notes here. But then you can transpose manually again, or use a capo in this case. Take your song and let the capo lift it just that tiny bit there, so that you're out of your problem zone with your lowest notes. You're still in the safe zone with your high notes, because it was somewhere over here that your issue was. So this way your song is in the clear. You might sing and you think, oh, I'm having issues with projecting energy because of the low notes, and you still might want to shift that up a bit and grab your capo and step by step shifting it up a bit. That might just end up where you want it to be. Finding that good key, especially if you want to sing it, is important. Your optimal range gives you all the space you need to put emotion in it, to put dynamics in it. You'll have less stress, of course, because you won't be fearing those high notes, and you can really focus on bringing the story right. And getting grounded well, projecting enough energy in all the notes. So really, I can't emphasize it enough. It is so important. That was an old example. I'm going to skip it now. Some useful tools if you want to transpose online is transposer.com and log.net. Tools I use to do some quick transposing to check out if there's some exotic chords that give opportunities or threats. Of course, you can control the rhythm as well. When you start to meddle with rhythm, then you start to change the feel of the song, the character of the song. You will start to make bridges to other genres. And rhythm isn't only speed, of course, but tempo does a lot. You could slow a fast song down to make it a ballad. Um, House of the Rising Sun, you can do so much things with it. You can make it a ballad just by slowing it down. Or you can, like Tommy Emmanuel does, make it very... make it rich, make it faster, make it more country vibe with picking like that. You can stay in the same rhythm and the same tempo, but experiment with how you strum it. For example, Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, it has certain pickings. But it could be quite hard in the beginning, but take it back. Go check what are the main building blocks of this song. What are these? Can I make lines of it? Can I make blocks of it? And then you'll notice there's a C, there's a G, an E minor, and a D major. And then you can start to... now I decomposed it, now I can recompose it just with those chords. I can make that complex again and leave the whole thing that you might have issues with, but you want to make something personal of it. And I have the chord C, G, E minor, D. So that's something that sounds just as complex or even more complex as the original. But what I see in my head is the little grid that says C, G, E minor, D. And then I go throwing my own stuff. And it didn't take me long to learn it because I didn't actually need to learn it. It had the feel of the original, but the audience will feel it. He's making something else from it. I can only do that by first decomposing into these blocks. C, G, E minor, D. I didn't learn it by checking out what are the specific notes, looking on a tab, what are all these numbers. I didn't do that. I decomposed to layers, seeing the structure, seeing the blocks. This line has C, G, E minor, D. Now I'm on the bottom level. Now I go building up again. I applied a different rhythm. That's the basis for it. Then I made the changes. And you need to build it up in layers as well. Explore different pickings every time. Less emphasis on the rhythm, but now I went into picking territory. So that is the clue. That's why I give you live clubs about decorating your chords. That's why I give you live clubs about grabbing control of a song. This is why I give you live clubs about why do bar chords really matter, because you can do these tricks with open chords, but you can use these tricks on bar chords as well. There's so much flavors for you to play with. So that's how we end up changing genres. That's how we go speeding up, slowing down, and lending certain style elements, like for punk, power chords, real strumming, tight strumming, very evenly paced, sometimes even very open, and while thrash metal can be more palm muted and very tight. Um, it can be very jolly and open, and we're in the Garden of Eden, baby. Or it can be real fast. What I see in my head is A minor, C, D, E minor. I see the same thing over and over again, but I apply these rhythmic feels, these things I stole from other genres or other songs. There are some very cool videos of people going quite far in that. I recently saw one who took the feel of um, Dire Straits' Sultan of the Swing, but he played the solo of Hotel California. You need to Google that one time. That's amazing. You recognize the phrasing of the solo of Hotel California, but the sound and the way how he picks and the little things he throws in between, that's typically Dire Straits, typically Sultans of Swing even. So it's a very good example of how you go back to the structure, and I play the solo as it should be, but I throw in certain elements from somewhere else. Don't be afraid to steal. We're musicians. We're supposed to steal from each other. You can, of course, change time signature, going from a regular 4/4 to 3/3, for example, make it more waltzy. Going to make it, give it a waltz feel, and you can almost see yourself waltzing over a ballroom floor there. It will be it's If you want to do it in 5/4, for example, that could be a real that could real overheat your brain if you want to go in stuff like that. But usually, um, going from a 4/4 to a 3/4, that's perhaps the most easy first step to do. Um, so we discussed some of the mechanical things, and I already gave you a taste of what your own style could be in that, because it, you could see that as big layers, but they interact, and it's hard to keep them apart, of course. And developing your own style is what sets you apart from other artists. Um, it it will it will gain the interest of the audience at a certain point if they notice that this person isn't just trying to copy the original. No, this artist is doing something of him or herself, and they are curious to hear your interpretation of it. On your side is that you now have a lot of freedom. The expectation of the audience wanting to hear the original has been lifted, and you get the room to fill the song as you want, to apply the dynamics if you want, to throw out stuff you don't want. But if you go throw out stuff you don't want, you need to know what are the song rules, what are the story rules of the song that I talked about. Are you still respecting those? Because people will expect these. You could play House of the Rising Sun, but as soon as you start to change crucial chords, and you start to move out, and There are, of course, some substitution rules. That's more advanced stuff we're not covering here today. But if you go starting to change C chord into a D chord, then people will get lost. They won't be able to play the song. You can play it as a 16th century clavecin stuff, or you can play it as a punk rock song. But it's if you respect the song rules, like the chord progression, and usually the chord progression is a core rule, people will recognize it, and people will expect a certain chord to follow. Um, so respect these things, but the more down you go, the more down you go in the layers and to the base layer, while you respect the song rules, you get a lot of space to play with. And you need to discover for your own what you want to develop. Your own style can be a lot of things. You could go into finger picking. You could go into throwing in some little lead work into it. If you are the kind of person that likes to jam, to improvise, to backing tracks, then you can use this stuff in your songs. And that's always a recommendation of me to students that ask me what should I practice, and I want to learn these songs. And I said, okay, let's have you practice things that serve the song, because you you'll you'll train something very mechanically, but you will use it in a song where you take it into story mode, because that's what the audience isn't interested in your mechanical playing. The audience is interested in your stories. So when you practice something mechanically, a certain fluidness in a scale, to in a later step be able to improvise with that, or it is a certain strumming pattern, or it is a certain finger picking, whatever. It's something very mechanical, but try to put enough of your training into applying it to your song. If your song has, for example, a certain chord progression that's hard, and you practice it, but you it also has finger picking over that chord progression, you also need to practice your finger picking, but make sure that you can do the changes between certain chords while finger picking. Or if you're more of the lead person, and you know that, oh, there's a chord where there's a lot of time, like chord as the killer, it does E minor, and then D major, and then 2 blocks of A minor. It's a less long, so if you would see the blocks, it's E minor, D major, and then 2 blocks of A minor. Those 2 blocks of A minor give a lot of room to do finger picking or do lead stuff. And when you hear A minor, you might think, oh, A minor. I already learned some A minor pentatonic stuff. If I would apply my practice of the A minor scale to those 2 blocks of A minor, then A minor comes, you could do the chord progression. It is the bass blocks of your songs, but then you throw in a bit of lead work on those blocks. One, you know when to do that, because you see in your head, this is where A minor starts, and I know that it's a double block. I intentionally did the same pattern 2 times because it was a repetition of the same block, and to show that. But another person could finger pick there. Meanwhile, you are entertaining your audience. They hear something they haven't heard before. They can go with the flow. They recognize the harmonic content that these chords have because you play their notes. But you're feeling it differently, and it's different than the original. And the more you start doing this, the more you start to play with that, the more you'll be invested in practicing those things you want to throw in, but the more it starts to become your own style as well. Is it the lead thing? Um, when you're playing heavier genres, it could be certain techniques as well. Into blues, it's about adding techniques as well, like bending and hammer-ons and stuff like that. And that's where the use of a scale is. The use of a scale is not I'm learning the fretboard, all the notes on the neck in the complete shape, but then not using it in a song, then it's a waste of time. I'd rather have you learning just that bit of the A minor pentatonic, but being able to throw it into a song when it suits you, then it's cool. Then you're actually using your theory and your practical knowledge. You got to get the most mileage out of the bits that you learn and trying to apply them. Because in your songs, this is where it matters. So a personal style, it grows with you. Nobody can expect that you will would be doing stuff I was doing here right now, or throwing in complex lead lines, stuff like that. But that's okay. The way you play songs also grow with you, because those basic blocks, they give you a base layer of how do I play a song. Because you could play Let It Be with a certain emphasis and the cadence going down the typical cadence, or you could play Let It Be with the regular strums, very evenly paced, and just playing chords. So it didn't even have the cadence, but it is recognizable. If you would sing with that, find myself in the trouble, people recognize that. People will go along. People will feel what chord to expect. But you can bring that song. It is a minimum viable product, and now you can build upon that. Will you throw in that emphasis? Will you throw in a passing note? Um, will you throw in an instrumental block, because you know there's a solo, but the solo is actually same as a verse block, because one, the chords that it plays over are the same, two, the length is the same. I can play over it. You could even record yourself and play over that, or if you with two guitarists, change roles, stuff like that. But that's all stuff you can add on later, and your style grows like that as well. Um, if you add in just one other flavor of C, it's already becoming part of your style. You have chosen that kind of chord, that kind of flavor to accompany your regular C, and you could do that in Let It Be, but you can do that in any other song that you want. And the more that you start to use that same trick again, it is not cheap. No, it becomes as part of your style. And the more of those things that you pick up, the more variation you have, and your common sense will decide, I'm doing this too much or not. Um, but that's something you have to be critical about. It's like singers doing the same thing with their voice, the same kind of trill, the same kind of of a note flipping over for that country twang. And as soon as singers start to do that too much, you start to take notice, and then you only hear this. So be careful with repeating the same trick all over. But when it comes to rhythm part, and especially when you're singing over it, uh, little people will be bothered that you actually recycle a lot of these tricks in so many songs over and over again. And as the slide says, it will become a second nature after a while, which means that if you are doing that certain decoration in 5 songs and you learn the sixth, chances are you will start doing it on autopilot in the sixth song. And that's not too bad, because if you keep adding flavors and tricks and lead lines to your arsenal, then you could play it in a certain fashion in one song and like it in another fashion in another song. And the more you get fluent with that, it isn't the literal piece that you start to that you always copy paste into songs, but it become you start to play flavors of the same thing, like flavors of the same finger picking pattern, different flavors of a kind of a lead line that you did, and that's why you benefit from learning some licks as well, some blues licks, because you will steal little bits of that, put them together, make sentences from words, and then you start throwing them in your songs as well. You can also play with dynamics, of course, and this matters when you're storytelling on stage. You're building up. As I said, your song is a story. There's a beginning, a middle, an end. You want to work to a certain point in a song and then make it drop. Um, Dance tracks are a really good example of this. You feel the build up and the beats are stacking up, layers are stacking up, beats are doubling, and then there's a drop, there's a silence, and then a single vocal comes in playing solo, stuff like that. Classic trick, but so many electronic dance songs do this, and it is kind of a caricature, of course, but you can apply stuff like that in your songs as well. Your first verse is rather smooth, and then something happens, something mean happened in the second verse, then you can do your strumming a bit more aggressive, and then the chorus breaks out, and then you go all the way, but not all the way, just I mean energized strumming, but still on 80%, because in your last chorus you'll go 100%, and you push your voice even a little more, and then the contrast of this crescendo to laying it down, it's going up and then down, and that's a strong dynamic. So learn to play with these dynamics. They don't have to be the same as in the original song, but once again, that's why you have to know what the song is about, what the story is about, how does it work, what do you feel about it, what is a good storyline that you can bring, and attach those dynamics to it. If you change the structure of the song, don't forget to change the dynamic accordingly. If you throw out certain pieces, even on the fly, because that's what you do, then make sure that your storytelling follows suit. Learning this control is not only about what is the script of my song, but also being able to do it on the moment. And this really helps building for your confidence. In my live club about stage fright and confidence and storytelling, I tell you about how having control over the song and having the structure will give you confidence that oh, this structure is so a part of me that I can pick up. I know where in the song I am, in structure wise, and even if you need to pick up with something that is less of a complex version, it's perhaps some complex picking was coming up, and you just stumbled over a chord, and then you need to go into a G chord, and there's some very complex thing going on, but you know that this is the feel of the song, bass layer. This was the verse. The first line of the verse starts again with a G. You could even just pick it because you see the structure in front of you, and then gradually add the complexity again, or not. You're in control. Being in control means I'm going in time forward. I'm going forward in time, but I can decide, am I going up or down in these layers? How complex do I need to go now? Are there factors that are disturbing me? Am I not feeling well? Did I forget some lyrics? This control makes you navigate in the other dimension again, in the vertical one, in the complexity. You'll go forward in time. Your tempo will make you go forward in time, galloping on your horse. But being in control means knowing what I can do. If you know that there was a certain complex picking going on, you need to know there's also just that regular G chord under it. And if you respect that rhythm, You keep playing that, the song is still fine, and some people will not even notice. That's why control is so important. Um, some examples of chord decorations. I'm going to skip those right now. We talked about it. I talked about adding some lead. Some example would be Englishman in New York. So the regular Englishman in New York is. So you could do different things with those. Going back to the basic structure, you know there is an E minor, there's an A major, and then there's two blocks of B minor. That's a basic thing. 1, 2, 3, and then a repetition. 4. So you know that your first half is. And then you have a long piece of B minor. Remember what I said about long blocks? Can we make these long blocks more interesting? Yes, you can. So you can go lead. Or finger picking. I also play with the rhythm there to make it a bit of jazz funky. But the basics of the song is. So at a certain moment you play this song and you something happens around you, or you become unsure, uncertain, or you blacking out. Even the strummed chords will keep this song alive. But know what the layers of your song are and know what you're doing. I don't memorize what I pick there. I know it's E minor. I don't memorize what I pick here. I know it's A major. And that's what you need to see. You need to know I'm currently over this chord and I know I can do these things there. I have in the beginning your sandbox will be small. You only have a few tricks. But add to these and throw them in songs. Use them in real life. Don't just practice them. Just throw in that one extra bit, that one extra spice. And do it one by one, song by song. This song, this spice, this song, that spice. Then combine a bit. And then you start to add, and your personal blend starts to form. You can do that with passing notes in your lead as well, of course. And as I said, it is a good way to start to add techniques as well, because I did a lot of just I kept out slides and bends. I did some bends on the A minor part here, hammer-ons, pull-offs. At a certain point you learn these, but make sure that you also use these, not only in the literal solos of bits that you learn, but in all aspects of your songs. How to handle solos and bridges? I handled that these adhere to certain song rules, and when you're building a song and you're not able to play the solo yet, you need to figure out which block do they fit over. In many cases they fit over a verse, or they fit over a verse plus a chorus. Check out where are they're being played over, and start out your song with just playing those chords or playing some simple embellishments over it. And when you start to add your own leads or embellishments or finger picking over it, you might even start to write your own solo over that song, which is even cooler than playing the original. Because as soon as you start to play the original, people want to hear the exact original. Remember, that's not a cheat to. It's not a cheat to dodge trying to copy it, because studying original pieces is valuable because you'll learn a lot of that as well. Most of it to steal from it. Yes, rearrange all the things and you actually steal from it. But it goes for lyrics as well. When you play a song a lot and you don't check the original lyrics, you notice that you've been singing the song a bit differently than the original. If you play it for some years or months, that's not too bad. You're retelling the story your way, and if you change some words, that doesn't matter. The essence is the story, the flow, the beginning, middle, end, the crisis that happens, the turnaround that happens, the wrap up that happens. And could be even a sport that you start to change a lot of it, and it could be your style to bring the song differently or make a translation in your native tongue or do stuff like this. um, for lyrics, same thing. It isn't a fixed thing, and especially if you can't take the song too literal, be free with those, but be wary of what are the story rules. What are you changing the feel of the song, not the musical feel, but the message of the song. If you're doing so, make sure that the context of your whole song respects that and stuff like that. Don't mind that. If you really want to go deep, you can go for some advanced substitutions, but I won't go into this in this session. All right, we're up to 9 o'clock. So this hour is already full. This is the time to ask some questions if you have some. Do you have some issues on making songs your own? And making songs your own could be one way is memorizing the song and feeling like, yes, I own this song. I have a sense of ownership. Or do you have issues in applying your own style? And I see there are some new comments. My screen didn't refresh. If Dire Straits played Hotel California, yeah, it's possible. I think it was a video that passed my social media stream, and I'm not sure if it's on YouTube. So I hope you can find it. Ion says, "Thank you, excellent session. A bit above my pay grade." What should be on your pay grade is the part about the basic layers of the song and seeing it as a grid, and perhaps this can help you in decomposing a song, not to not to be too focused on the details, but seeing what is the essence of this song, and musically what is the rule and the structure, and try to play a song from that, not so much focused on how is the original, but seeing that this is how the song is structured. If I would choose my favorite strumming pattern, if I would choose a certain feel, I'm feeling kind of groovy, I'm feeling kind of jumpy today. Okay, what would that do with a song? Experiment with that. Alan says, "Are you using a B minor pentatonic in Englishman in New York to embellish it?" I didn't even think about it. First thing I always do is start from what are the chord tones. That is the first thing that will already give you a lot of notes to play with. So in Englishman in New York, E minor, A, and then B minor. Hold still and look at your guitar. And what are the dots that you see under your fingers? Not only the ones that you can hear, because that's only 5, but also the ones in the shape that you learn it. Because what's beneath the index finger could be a usable tone as well. So look at the dots that your fingers are covering. Look at your fingerboard and try to Memorize that, try to see that in your head, what that is, apply the shape on top of that, and see that. Even write it down on the paper if you have to, and play these notes. This one wasn't there. Those are the notes that are being covered by my fingers. Try these first. In many cases, they will be the primer of your little lead line that you can come up with. I was playing with only these dots. You could do something like that. It's only 3 notes. And then you go back to E minor again. Try to throw in a few notes here and there, or sometimes even just taking a chord into 2 parts. The upper part and the lower part. E minor. It works best on chords that use all 6 strings, of course. Also for bar chords. See? I even have a little trick that I use in the beginning of You Can Go Your Own Way, and I work myself up playing a few strings, but higher and higher on the guitar. It's all in F, but it has a dynamic. Sometimes it's just on the lower strings, sometimes on the higher, or somewhere in between. Then. It's all within that same F chord. So you can even put in some dynamic there. Remember that if you play a chord, you don't always have to play all the strings. Find out if just playing part of it, it can already bring a bit of dynamic into the same grip. It was all single grips, but I played just parts of it, lower and higher. That's already a dynamic that you can throw in your song. It could become a part of your style, of your own style. Combine it with other stuff. It's certain picking, certain strumming, certain patterns, rhythmic things that you want to do. The video title is correct. Yes. All right. If there's any more questions like this for this stuff or the other live sessions in this version of the slide, let me drop just that link here. That should be an up-to-date link to the slide deck. It has the titles of the live clubs, which I referred to, like the Transposing a Song, like spicing up your bar chords and open chords, getting control, stuff like that. So check them out if that stuff interests you, because making a song your own is kind of an umbrella lesson of teasing you into spicing up your chords, in playing with rhythm, in memorizing lyrics. Once again, if you can memorize lyrics, it will give you, one, more processor power to do other things, but two, you will be so much better in putting emotion in your song, in being authentic, in bringing that story. If you bring a story and you can do that from the heart, it will feel like you went through it. You went through that experience. You went through that emotion. If you are reading it from a paper, you're reading somebody else's story. So making songs your own can only happen if you tell that story and if people have the feel, they make the connection with you because you had this experience and you're sharing it. There's no third party involved. It's the audience and you sharing your story with them. And this works so much better if you can memorize your songs, your lyrics. If you have issues with memorizing, really check out, I think, is it session number 20? I'm not sure. There is a live club solely about memorizing songs, memorizing lyrics, and chord progression, stuff like that. Check it out. It is so it is crucial to making songs your own. If you really want to come across as I own this song and I'm giving it back to you, then you should be able to play it by heart, from the heart. Those things go together. All right. Always finish with a light bulb over my head. That's cool. That's what we try to achieve here. Take the little nuggets that's in here, go through the slides, see which part that interests you. If you want to know more about that and you can't find it in Justin's course or in the live clubs, let me know. Leave it at justinguitar.com or find me on the wonderful and very awesome Justin Guitar community. That's community.justinguitar.com. I'll see you there. Thanks a lot. Memorizing those lyrics, my nemesis. Yeah, Mandy, we know, but I believe in you. Mandy is a student of mine, and she's a great person. And if I can inspire her here in front of all these people to help her memorize these lyrics, I'm sure she can do it. Go, Mandy. See you later, guys.